Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Sage HR demonstration. My name's Simon, and I'll be taking you through the demonstration itself. What you will see on the right-hand side is a questions area. So if you do have any questions that you want to ask while I'm going through the demonstration, then please, by all means, ask away. My colleague Kirsty is looking after that, so she'll be able to answer any questions you've got. Or if you want to wait till the end, that's absolutely fine. We'll have about 10 minutes or so at the end, and you can ask us any questions then. So first off, just a little bit of introduction really. So world of work is transforming as we know it, and it means businesses have to rethink how they manage and engage their employees. So during the demo, I'll show you how Sage HR can help you manage your people data and processes easily so that you can focus on your business. So what's going on right now? Well, again, world of work's very challenging right now, especially recently things have completely changed how we think and work. So the need to manage and engage a remote workforce, fluctuating capacity levels, track absence, etc., puts increased pressure on businesses. And even companies that were already conducting business remotely are under more pressure than before. And research shows that employees tend to switch jobs more frequently, and a sound employee engagement strategy is key for all types of businesses, whether that's remote or on-premise. And in addition to usual challenges, we now have to support and manage workforces remotely and respond to the constantly changing COVID situation. So what can you do, or what do you need to do as an employer? So make work life easier for your employees and show them that you're there to support them, especially in the current climate. Create meaningful and amazing experiences for your employees at work. So ease the burden of managing your people process. Create more automated and efficient ways of working across the employee journey so that you can focus on your business and achieve better productivity with what you have. So I'll demonstrate the key ways that Sage HR can help you navigate those challenges. So how can Sage HR help? Well, it's cloud native, scalable, easy to use solution designed for all types of companies or all sizes of companies, whether that's small or large. It's a single employee database, or as we call it, a single source of truth. So set up all the basics, so get all that employee information into the one place. Self-service, so looking at it from an employee perspective, so empower your employees with self-service and reduce the number of queries or admin. Remote workforce management, so looking at it from manager or business perspective, manage your workforce remotely, wherever they are, whatever you need to do. Communication and collaboration, so stay connected to your workforce, keep them engaged. Understand your business and people performance with reports, and also develop and nurture your people. So with that in mind, that falls into these particular modules. So the core HR platform and leave management, they're both included as the standard modules. So they come straight out of the box, so to speak. But as you can see, you can also add these different modules. So you've got performance, shift scheduling, timesheets, expenses, and a recruitment module as well. But basically what I'm going to take you through in the session today is the core HR and the leave management. So the two that come as standard. If you do want to have a look at any of the other modules, then please leave us your details on the right-hand side in that questions area, and we can send you some pre-recorded webinars that we've done about those different modules, and we can get those sent to you. So as I said, we're going to take you through that core HR and the leave management. So on the screen now, this is the Sage HR system. Now, first thing is you can completely rebrand this for your own company. So in the top right-hand corner, this is me logged in. I'm the admin. I'm the person who set up the actual Sage HR software. But if you go into the settings, first screen in the middle is where you can rebrand it. So you've got your logo that appears in the login page when people first log in, and also any emails that Sage HR generates. You've got your logo that appears in the top left in the header there. You can put a background image in, so instead of just a white background like I have here, you can put your own image. You can change the header color at the top as well. So you can suit it for any color schemes that you might already have for your company. But just a little bit on sort of navigation. So very left-hand side in this blue bar, these are all the different modules that you've got in the Sage HR system. Now I've got every single module activated. So just using the core HR and the leave, you may see a whole lot less on the left-hand side. Same for your employees. When they log in, depending on what you give them access to, they may also see a whole lot less too. Just to the right in the settings, this is your settings or your admin menu. So this is where you basically set up the Sage HR system. And in the top right, the little plus symbol is where you can add things like save time off requests, etc. But we'll go more into that when we go into the program. But by default, in the top left-hand corner, dashboard, calendar, and announcements, these are your three defaults that each person is going to see. So if we go into the dashboard, so if an employee logs in or an admin, what you'll see first off, you can see your tasks. So any tasks that you might need to do, you can see what you need. You can see up and coming time off that you might have booked in. If you use things like the performance module, you could look at one-to-one meetings, or on the right, you can look at your balances. So you can see what holidays you've got left, any sick leave you might have taken. Again, depends up on what balances that you set up. You've got your calendar. Now, again, because I'm the admin, I can basically see every single calendar in the whole company. But if you wanted to, you can restrict it. So maybe you allow the managers just to see their own team. Maybe when an employee logs in, maybe you only want them to see their own calendar. Completely up to you. But you can also, on the right-hand side, sync that calendar. So if you do use Google Outlook or iCal, you can sync it with those calendars. You've also got an announcements tab on the left as well. So exactly that, if you want to make sort of company-wide announcements, you can do that within here. You can add the announcement, put your title, put the body of text into it. You can choose a topic. You can customize these, put your own topics in the program. You can also add an image to that. And you can see at the bottom, you can notify your employees. So it is kind of an urgent announcement. Tick that box. It will email each person in your database to tell them there's an important announcement. And then they can basically click into the Sage HR system. They can go into that announcement, obviously read it, click on maybe any links you've put in there, but they can also leave emojis, they can leave comments on that as well. So those are kind of your three defaults. Now, we said this is your single employee database. So very left-hand side, if I go to company, you can see in there all my employees within the actual company. Now, to get your employees in, top right-hand corner, you've got an import option. You can download an Excel template, shows you exactly what fields can be imported, what's mandatory, what's optional. You can import it that way. If you use Sage 50 Payroll, you've got two options from there. Again, you could export a file out. Again, just use that import option to import that in. Second option is you may have seen a feature in there called upload payslips. If you don't use that feature at the minute, then what it can do is it can connect your payroll up to the Sage HR, and what it'll do, it'll pull across basic employee information into Sage HR. And then, as its name suggests, upload payslips. When you finish doing your payroll, you can then upload your payslips, and those will be available in Sage HR. So that means your employees can log in and get their payslip within the system itself. Or you can just click the add button and you can just add your employee details through the actual wizard. And then once you've got your employees in there at the top, you can add them into specific teams. So I'm running a hotel as my company, so I've got a front of house team, housekeeping, kitchen team, etc. So you can add them to teams. If they do move teams, you can simply just drag and drop them across the different teams. And then also at the top, it will automatically generate the organizational chart for you. And again, from here, if you needed to move individuals around, again, you can move them around in here as well, and it reorders itself. But if we just go back to our directory, so if we want to change an employee's record, we can simply just click into it. So let's take Bill, for example. If we click on Bill, you can see to the left, this is Bill's menu. So you've got things like the employee tab there, so you can see what position they hold, you can see what their status is, any right to work info, you've got direct managers, what team they're on, etc., etc. You've got their personal details as well. So addresses, telephone numbers, date of birth, etc. can be found in there. There's things like notes tab. So this is really just for managers and admins. So they're the only people who are going to see this notes tab. The employee's not going to see that. So if you want to leave it internal notes, etc., you can. And you've also got documents there. So exactly that. If you want to add new documents onto the employee, absolutely you can. So for example, we've got things like company policies, or you can create signable documents in here as well. So if maybe you've got a change on terms and conditions, something like that, you can add that in there and it will send that as a task to your employees. And then they click into that, they'll read it. And at the end, they can either do a signature with their mouse or they can upload a signature from a file. But more importantly, what we talked about is self-service. So this is about empowering your employee. So what we can do, if I go back to the employee at the bottom, we've got an option to view as this employee. So as you can see there, we're now logged in as Bill. So we can have a look at Bill's information as though we were Bill. So as you can see, this is where Bill can see his tasks, etc., etc. But if I just log back in as myself, obviously we've changed Bill's record there. We could then go into Carrie, Charlene, Chris, whoever it may be, and change that information as we need. But that's a little bit time consuming, sort of clicking in and out of each individual. So instead of doing it that, in the top right, if we go back to settings, left-hand side in our admin menu, if we go to the employee data, you can see in here at the bottom, we've got a mass editing tool. So all the employees' information on the one screen, and you can go down the list accordingly, change whatever information you need to. You can filter it at the top if you want to do locations or by team. You can also edit the columns at the top as well. So if there's other fields that you want to include in that table, you can just basically tick which ones you want to include. One thing to note at the bottom here, I've got 3 fields: right to work, passport inquiry, and the prerequisite training. Now these are custom fields. So not only do you get all the default fields in the program, but you can add your own fields into the system as well. So again, just to the left in the employees section, you've got your custom fields. You can add as many as you want. So for example, the right to work one here, if I open that up, you could choose what type of field it is. So do you want a text field? Do you want drop down, multi-select, date fields, whatever it may be? Where do you want that field? So do you want it on the personal or employee tab? And then as you can see underneath that, you can decide what you want to do with that field. So you can see for this one, we show the field to the employee, but we don't allow them to actually edit that field. So again, if you've maybe got internal fields that you want to put on there without showing them to the employee, you can add them as custom fields as well. So we've got our custom fields in, we've added our new employees. Now what we can also do for any brand new employees that you put into the system is on the left-hand side here, you can create specific onboarding tasks. So you enter a brand new employee into Sage HR, whatever you put as tasks in here, when that person logs in, they'll see those outstanding tasks that they need to complete. So for example, there we've got a company policy at the top. So if we go into that one, you can see we've attached a document, code of conduct. We've said acceptance is required. So they have to log in, they have to read that document, and at the end, click a button to accept that they've read that. So if you wanted to, you could obviously run reports or have specific workflows to tell you who hasn't actually completed those tasks. And as you can see at the bottom there, we assign it from day 1, and they've got 10 days to complete that task. You can also categorize these onboarding tasks as well. So you can see we've got general, so any brand new employee will automatically get those 3 tasks. But underneath, we've also got kitchen onboarding. So if I take on a new employee and they go into the kitchen team, they'll also get these additional tasks added to them as well. So you can completely automate that for brand new starters. Or we can do completely the opposite, offboarding. So somebody's leaving the company. So again, we've got 2 in there: exit interview, return of equipment or uniform. So you make them a leaver, put in their end date, then again, it will put these tasks into them list to complete. Mentioned reports very briefly. So bottom left-hand corner here, you've got your reports option. So again, just to the right, it opens up another menu here. So these are all the different areas that you can run of the reports. So you can see at the top there, you've got your HR dashboard. So if you want a head count, if you want turnover, compensation reports, etc., you can simply just click on that. So if I do a turnover, for example, it will show you that on the screen. You can see underneath that, you've got an export button. You can export that out as CSV. Certain reports will export as PDFs as well. So anything from sort of your time off reports there, which I'll touch on in a bit. And you've also got employee data. So things like sort of assets, you can create an asset inventory, so you can basically track who's got what. You can enter all your training, any training events, etc. See what's up and coming, what's due to be renewed, etc. But you can see there we've also got custom reports. So if you have put any of those custom fields into the system, you can also create a report from those custom fields. Again, you can create as many of those as you want. And again, you can run them just straight to the screen, or if you want to export those out, absolutely you can. So those are the reports as well. Now to complement the reports, in the top right hand corner, if I go to settings, at the bottom, you've got this option called recipes. Now these are configurable workflows that activate based on your settings. Now these can be used for anything. You can create as many as you want. So as an example, we've got a happy birthday one there. So when the employee has a birthday, sends an email to the employee, which basically says happy birthday. So you can see at the bottom there, we've got our email. We can also add variables which are available at the bottom. So it saves me having to basically write the email, saves me having to remember which employee's birthday it is. But as I said, these can be used as anything. They could be set up as things like sort of reminders. So if you've got custom fields with maybe dates in there, you could set a workflow up to give you that reminder. Or we mentioned all about sort of self-service. So what you can do, instead of yourself having to change an employee's address, for example, you can let the employee log in and change their own address. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new recipe, change to address. So when does this happen? So when the employee has changed their address, then send an email to whoever it may be, maybe a manager, an admin, or a specific email address. So you can put the subject in, whatever it may be, change to address, and you've got your email content. So we could say previous address, and we could choose the variable for previous employee address, and then we can say new address, and again, we could put the variable for the employee address. So if an employee does log in and change their address, you're going to get that email to tell you that somebody has changed that. So if you've got any other systems that you need to go off and change, then you've got that email notification to do that. But again, you can create as many of these as you basically need. Now, obviously, everything so far I've done is through a web browser. There is also a mobile app that you can use as well. Obviously, you can look at things like your calendar, your dashboard. You can create time off requests and things like that in the mobile app. You can also view your pay slips. We mentioned the payroll as well. So again, with the pay slips, those will be pulled across. So it'll create a new menu on the left-hand side for the pay slips. So again, your employees can either just view those on the screen, they could save them as PDFs, print them, whatever they so desire. But everything so far I've shown you is the core HR. So that's your first standard module that you get. The second module I'm going to show you is the leave management. So again, top right hand corner, go into your settings, left hand side, we go into the time off section. First thing we need to do is set up our different time off policies. So you can create as many different time off policies as you need. So as you can see, we've got full-time holidays, I've got sick leave policies, I've got part-time policies, I've got time off and lieu appointments, etc. So if you've got different people with different holiday, then you can put them all as different policies. So for example, if we just take the full-time holiday one here, if we open that up, you can say I've allocated 196 hours to it. Can be in days if you prefer, that's completely up to yourself. You might have two different policies, one for days, one for hours, for your different types of staff. You can see for me, that gets reset on the 1st of January. So when it hits that date, then they get their full entitlement of holidays back. Unused time at the end of that holiday year, for me, we don't allow them to carry over into the next financial year. Maybe you do. And if you do, you can specify how many hours or days you can carry over. And maybe does it expire after X amount of time. But once you've got that set up, underneath that, you've got your different settings. So for this one, default working pattern is 7 hours for this one. Do you count weekends as work days? Obviously, some people work a weekend. So does that count as a work day? You've got conditions. So for example, we allow employees to request time off from this policy. You can see in the middle there, we require minimum 7 days before that start date. Or if we go into allowances, you can see in there, we've enabled the length of service. So after 5, 7, and 10 years, they get an additional day automatically allocated to them. And then a bit further down, you've got new starters. So depending on where they start through the year, it will allocate them X amount of hours or days. But once that's set up, then just go into eligibility and you can assign that policy to your different staff members. So once that's done, that means your staff can then put in holiday requests. So what I'm going to do, we're going to log in as one of my employees. So if I take Beverly, and at the bottom, we view as Beverly. So when Beverly's logged in, first thing she could do on the left-hand side, she can go into the time off section. She can look at her history. So she can see what's awaiting approval, what's been approved, declined, etc. If Beverly does want to make a change to one of these, she can simply just click onto it to the right. Maybe she wants to cancel it, or maybe she wants to edit that and move it to a different day. Obviously doing that will send another request to be approved or declined. But how does Beverly put a holiday request in? So she can go to our dashboard. If I scroll down a bit, up and coming time off area, you can add a time off request through there. Top right, click the plus symbol, time off request through there. Or as I said, if you're using the mobile app, you can add the time off request there. So for Beverly, we're going to do that new time off request. She's a full timer, so that's the policy she will choose. It tells me she's got 196 hours left. And then underneath, Beverly can put a single or a multi-date in. So we're just going to put a single date in and we'll pick July 29th all day. So if Beverly hits submit, you'll see at the top there that it's been sent for approval. So the way my system is set up is that it will send that request to Beverly's manager. So Beverly's manager will get an email to say that a request has been made. The manager can approve or decline that through the email itself if they want to, or obviously they might want to log into Sage HR first, go into the calendar, double check who else is off, and then obviously they can approve or decline that through Sage HR. If they're using the mobile app, they'll get a push notification as well to tell them that it's been accepted or declined, or they will also get an email to tell them again that it has been approved or declined. Works exactly the same for things like sick leave as well. So again, depending on you, how you want to set it up, if you set up your sick leave policy, maybe you don't want your employees to put sick leave in for your managers to approve, but if you do, they can do that. Or if they leave it up to a manager, for example, so I just signed back in as myself. If you're a manager or an admin, when you add a time off request, you have an extra field where you can choose an employee. So I might want to put in sick leave on behalf of somebody, so we'll put it in for Annie. We'll choose sick leave. We'll say a single day, yesterday, all day. And as you can see, there's an attachments option there. So if they do have sick notes, etc., then that can be attached to that as well. So we hit submit. Whoop, she's already been off sick yesterday. I'll choose a different date. And we save that, and it will add that time off as sick on to Beverly's record, or Annie's record even, as I chose. So if I just go back to the settings in the top right, left-hand side, if I go back to time off, underneath the policies, you've got individual allowances. So kind of like the mass editing tool for your employees, you can do this for their time off allowances. So you basically say your employees on the bottom there, you can have a look at any policies that you've got set up. So you can see there, we could add every single policy to that, and then we could view all of that on the one screen and make any changes to that way. Again, at the top, filter that by the team or location. You've got your time off approver. So as I said, mine is set as team manager, but maybe you want it set as direct manager, maybe you just want it set as admins, or maybe you want individual approvers against specific employees as well. Lastly, on the left, you've got automated reports as well. So these can be automatically emailed directly to you when you need them. So instead of you having to log into the system and manually generate that report, you can set it up in here to automatically email yourself. So you can see there, we've got a holiday report. So send it about the current month, one day after the start of the month for all my employees on the full-time holiday policy, and it emails that report to myself. So you might set this up so you put sickness in as well, And it could automatically email each individual team manager their sickness, their holidays, long-term leave reports about their particular team. So if you are going to have meetings or whatever, then everybody has got that report and they're ready to go. But as I said, if you wanted to, in the bottom left, you can go into the report section, into the time off. So again, you can see things like status, you've got the actual time off reports themselves. So I could look at every employee on the full time from a particular date. We can generate that. So again, that will appear on the actual screen itself in a moment. But as you can see, maybe you want to export that into Excel or PDF, and you can see all the different holidays within there. Or you can do things like have a look at who's maybe got unused days at the end of the holiday year. If you use the Bradford factor, can generate that. Things like some long-term leave, etc. So that's your leave management module. So those are the two default modules that you get as part of the system. So next steps, so you'll soon receive an automated follow-up email. It will have an attached recording of what we've just done there. As it says, please feel free to watch that as much as you need. You'll also get a further email advising on how to sign up. If you use Sage 50 Payroll, you may even see an in-product message when you log into the payroll itself. In addition, our customer success managers will be in touch within 48 hours if you do need any more information, etc. Again, obviously, we can give you that. As I said, if you want any of the other modules to look at, please leave your information and that questions option on the right. We can send you those modules, or if you do want to be contacted earlier, we can pass you over to one of our customer success managers as well. And then once you get signed up, we'll give further demos on how to get it set up, how to get your data in there, start using it, etc. And then lastly, just want to introduce another bit of software we have called Sage Employee Benefits. So this is an experience hub and it's designed to engage with your employees. So it's a selection of products and services that bring additional benefits over and above their salary. So they can get discounts across hundreds of different retailers, supermarkets, entertainment. You can get up to 10% off travel and holidays. There's things like cycle to work schemes, there's online GP appointments, there's things like employee assistance service, which gives you telephone or face-to-face support as well. But if you want to know any other information about Sage Employee Benefits or about Sage HR, then you can visit our website. You can see at the bottom there, we've got our Get More website in here as well. It gives you lots of information about the software that I've shown you, but also in there, you can access things like free e-learning, certification, etc. in there as well. But that just leaves me to say thank you very much for your time today. My email address is in the middle there. If you do think of any other questions down the line, please feel free to drop me an email. But as I said, we'll have about 10 minutes or so now. So if you do have any questions that you want to ask Kirsty or myself, then please use that questions option on the right. But again, thanks very much for your time and have a good day.